This episode of The Republic is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Welcome back to The Republic. Episode 167 for January 9th, 2013. Coming up on today's show, we have some info on patch 2.6. The community still wants their class stories, and we're going to talk about our hopes and dreams and possibly nightmares for 2014. All that more, but first, from massively.com, it's Mr. Larry Everett. How are you, Larry? Are you muted?
Larry, you're muted.
I muted myself, so there we go. I muted myself so I wouldn't talk over the other and cough over the other thing. But I'm in a new office.
Yeah, I see the new office. Leia's got a nice little corner there. She's got like her own little space.
That's her own.
He's no longer in the basement.
I'm no longer in the basement.
No longer in the basement. Banished. Good for you. You got some snow over there, the polar vortex?
Yes. 6 inches-ish, 6 to 8 inches in my front yard, actually. In my front yard.
How about your
backyard? Did you make snow angels?
Backyard?
Yeah, my backyard, I don't know how much is back there. I don't even want to measure.
It's got like an igloo in the backyard. It's like.
That's right.
Joining us as always, Laura Williams. How are you, Laura?
I'm great. Hey, guys. Happy New Year.
Everybody have a good New Year? Everybody have a good New Year? Good Christmas? Good New Year?
Yes, it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. We went to a masquerade ball.
Ooh, fun. That sounds like fun.
It was fun. There's never enough excuses to get dressed up in formal wear and tiaras and go out.
No Star Wars garb?
No, we didn't wear Star Wars garb. I was a pretty princess.
That sounds better than Star Wars garb.
But Leia is a pretty princess now.
That is kind of true. It is true. But she does kiss her cousin or brother. Yeah. So.
That's disgusting and true.
A little creepy. Yeah. All right. So Musco, Mr. Eric Musco, he's been teasing about 2.6 on the forums already. So the gunship will finally be unlocked for free to play players. So now everyone can hate on each other for playing the overpowered sniper ship, I guess. How's it going?
Sorry, we're about to get the bomber.
Is it a brand new gunship variant?
Yeah, well, we don't know anything about it. It's great, though. It's great. I actually, I'm kind of curious as to what is going to, what they're going to vary, other than obviously the look. But I mean, all the ships are completely different. Even, besides their looks, they all perform differently as well. And how can you improve on the gunship? Because really, right now, it is. People say it's overpowered, and to an extent, like if you compare it to maybe the Strike Fighter, it probably is a bit overpowered compared to the Strike Fighter. But if you compare it to the Scout ships, it's probably just about equal. And even a Strike Fighter, for that matter, can take out a gunship if it's geared correctly. So, yeah, I'm not
what
sure
could they
exactly.
Add? I don't know.
I don't know. That's the big thing that I'm really curious about.
Homing sniper shots, maybe.
Change?
Homing sniper shots make it even easier.
That would be. I don't know. That would probably be horrible. That's all. I really can't.
The other one, like you said, Laura, everyone's excited. The bomber is finally being introduced with 2 variants on the bomber. What do we know about that?
There is. Well, they're not gonna be dogfighters. They're going to be slow, not quite as maneuverable. However, they will be dropping minefields, and they've got pretty heavy armor and pretty heavy shields. So you're going to have a hard time if you're trying to just think that they're an easy pick-off.
How do you guys think how is this going to do for balance of the game? Is this something that's like really going to help a lot just to kind of balance out the landscape of the battlefield?
One of the things that happened during beta was that the bombers were really overpowered. What they would pretty much do is they would fly into an area, drop a bunch of turrets. Because if if you're taking a standard like FPS kind of PvP game like TF2 or something like that, the bomber would be the engineer. And basically what would happen is the bomber would drop turrets and whatnot, and they would shoot everybody that's in the area, and the bomber would fly away. That's kind of its job. So it became very, very overpowered. It was like nearly impossible to kill because it had healing turrets as well. That was one of the other things that it could drop. So it'd heal everybody in the area. I'm just really interested to see what kind of balance that they have been able to create with this.
That's the thing. Like really players you've been kind of been playing without a full deck at this point because they pulled it out because it was so out of balance. But it was always pretty much meant to be in the mix, right?
That's true.
Yes.
Although this mix that they have right now is really great, and to throw a bomber in there, I think it's just like it's almost like throwing a wrench in there.
No, I think the bombers are going to be awesome. All those people complaining about their gunships, so your bomber will get in there. They're going to.
Laura just likes it because she's hoping for a ship that she might not have to take Dramamine with and get sick. She's like, it's going to move slow.
I'm excited about this. I can come in and I can just plant myself. I'll be able to build defensive walls around whatever I'm guarding. I can drop mines that people are going to go through. I'll be able to drop sentry drones so that once you get close enough, it's going to just auto shoot you, and I can drop a healing drone. That's kind of awesome.
Would you kind of say it's almost like a commander position? Like other games have like sort of a commander, where they kind of oversee the battlefield and call in airstrikes and things like that. So it's a little bit more tactical, looking at the entire map.
I would consider it more tactical. I wouldn't call it a particularly a tactical commander kind of gameplay, but it's definitely more tactical in the sense that where should I position these turrets? Where would be the best place to put? So yeah, there's definitely that kind of
because you're not in a dogfighting scenario.
Thinking right, you're not. You aren't a dogfighter. Yeah, because if you end up dogfighting it in a bomber, you're going to lose pretty much. So yeah,
well, it'll be a setup for a defensive position. I'm going to be guarding my turret.
That's all pretty much Musko would say. That's all he was really willing to talk about. He said there'd be more Galactic Starfighter changes coming. I don't know. And is there any speculation, any other tidbits out there of what else could be on deck?
Another map has been speculated. I'm sorry. But another map has been speculated, although we don't have any kind of I don't even think we have anything data mined saying that there's going to be a new map, but people are really wanting a new map because the two that we have right now are pretty much, they're both domination maps. There was a piece that was data mined that said that the Kawat Drive Yards was originally supposed to be an assault kind of map versus the domination map that it is now, but other than that, not really anything.
What are you hearing, Laura?
Well, we do know that it's going to be launching for preferred players Tuesday, and that it's launching for free to play on the 1st. So, for known information, that's what's coming out.
And there's a bunch of, well, I wouldn't say a bunch of, but there are some class changes coming as well, right? Significant DPS boost for operatives and scoundrels.
Which I think is kind of awesome. I think in PvE, as far as PvE goes, that's something that's really needed. So I think this is a good change.
Where did this come from? Was this directly based off of the feedback from the class reps? Is it tied into that at all?
I think it is kind of tied into it. If I remember correctly, they did mention that there were some DPS issues with specifically the concealment operative. Right now the lethality operative is okay in PvE. It's not like it doesn't rank up there with I don't know. It doesn't rank up there with like your marauders and your snipers, but it's definitely on par with your say mercenaries, those kinds of DPS. But it does. But the concealment one is extremely lacking, and I would definitely be.
It's bursty, so it's decent in PvP, but as far as sustained damage in operations, it's, if you get lucky on crits, fantastic. If you don't, you're just kind of at the bottom of the barrel, and it's like, why would we take that over anything else? So this is some good change to hopefully give them a little bit more sustainability.
Yeah,
And
we don't know what the
lethality
numbers-
is getting some boosts as well.
Yeah.
What is?
Lethality, the other operative.
Yeah,
DPS
lethality needs it as well. It's not as high as it probably should be, because even though it's a little more sustainable, you can keep a decent rotation going with lethality because it's a dot spec. It's still not outputting a good amount of DPS. It's equivalent to, I would say, your Madness spec sorcerer, who also at this point needs a boost.
No,
in DPS.
I would say it's much better than that.
You think it's better than that?
I think it's better than that. It's actually, lethality is a very good spec, and the improvements to some of the dots are only going to help to kind of round it out and make it even better than what it is. But concealment definitely needed the help.
Yeah.
Where are we at with the it's been a while since we've done a show. Where are we at with the class reps? What happened to them? I know we talked about them before the holidays, but we know anything else? Or when are they coming back? What's the latest?
Well, the last thing that we heard from Eric Musco was he said that he was going to be getting in touch with the class reps, and that his goal was around January to have the next round of top 3 questions be submitted. And that was back on December 3rd. And as of right now, I wasn't able to find anything else from him saying that he's gotten in touch with anybody, that he's worked with other classes for nominating somebody else if their rep has left. It's just kind of been in limbo. But maybe they were all on vacation for Christmas. So I'm going to cut them a little slack.
Holiday. It was kind of a holiday. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little too much eggnog. Mercs and Commandos, as well as Sorks and Sages, are going to get a skill to eliminate pushback on certain key abilities. What's up with this? Was this really needed and necessary, or am I just ready? Get ready for the incoming rage of the internet?
This was needed. I must shoot people in the face with tracer missile.
Oh my gosh!
Anybody interrupting that?
That's the one thing that I hope they don't eliminate the pushback on. But they're going to. You know that's exactly what they're going to do. However, I do have to say though that Sorks and Sages, they need it.
What's going on here for people who don't play those?
Basically, what's happening? Your commandos, mercs and commandos, and Sorks and Sages, both on the especially on the DPS side, are turrets. They basically stand there and they fire channeled abilities. And if there's a pushback, that means pushback. It basically knocks the bar back some if they get hit, and too much of that, it takes just that much longer to get the shot off, and it really in certain cases makes it impossible to do anything. And I think that getting rid of the pushback, or at least reducing the pushback, at least some, eliminating in this case, it's going to increase their ability to be viable in certain PvP areas. And one of the things, as far as this Sorks and Sages are concerned, because even as a healer, Sorks and Sages are turrets as well. They kind of just stand there and they heal everybody in the group, and it's all channeled abilities. And if they're getting pushed back all the time, they're not getting heals off at all. And that is why right now an operative healer is the way to go, because it's almost all instant cast, and there's no pushback at all. Now I think what that is going to allow them to do, by getting rid of the pushback on the healers at least, is that it's going to allow them to be as viable as an operative healer.
Mercs and Commandos now cast as a Kalto shell? Kalto. And Trauma Probe on more than one target at a time. This sounds like a pretty big change for healers. That sounds pretty significant. They're going to be allowed to now cast that onto more than one target at a time.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the mechanic works. But other than that, sure, yeah, absolutely, more healing for
healing
for the Mercs Command, because honestly, they aren't. I know there's only three healers really. So and they're the bottom of the healing list of all the people that you choose to be on your team, on whether PvE or PvP. commando is at the bottom, and so hopefully this gives them a little bit of boost to at least put them on par with everybody
giving
else.
more AoE healing is always very helpful, especially in group, raid situations or PvP situations where you've got a group of people that you're trying to heal at the same time. So it's kind of a buff.
This last one here is a pretty funny one. Mercs and Commandos can now use rapid shots or hammer shot on themselves while in healing stance.
Now, this was a needed change. Because
why? To literally shoot yourself in the face to heal? Heal.
Well, operatives have this ability where they can, it's like a freebie heal to help regen energy, and they can use it on themselves. And mercenaries and commandos have the same type of ability, but they weren't able to use it on themselves because they don't have an animation for it. So I'm really glad. Seriously, I am really glad that they're putting it in. I think this is a great change. I really, really hope that they're going to get an animation that has them turn the gun around and start shooting themselves in the chest.
They're gonna do this. I'm good to go now, guys. I'm good to go.
It'd be kind of hilarious. It seems like an odd one. You should literally shoot yourself to heal.
But I do think seriously that this is an excellent change, and it's something that's needed to be put into the game for a long, long time now. So people should be very happy about this.
Good. A lot of cool changes coming. So we'll probably know a little bit more in the future as well. I want to talk about this thread that popped up about class stories, which everyone's always talking about. But first, I want to tell you guys about Audible. If you guys have not checked out Audible, it's a great service. I've been a subscriber for years. I want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and one free audiobook just by going to audible.com/gamebreaker. That's the URL you can use. Go sign up, download the app, put it on your Android or your iOS device. Like I said, you could download one free book and use the service absolutely free for 30 days. We've talked a lot about, I think, the Star Wars, The Old Republic books here on the show, but I don't think I've ever brought up this one. I mean, the Heir to the Empire book with book one is fantastic. Let's take a listen.
Inconceivable for a man as young as Tichel to serve as a bridge officer aboard a ship like the Chimera. Now, he looked down at the equally young man at the engineering monitor. Now, in contrast, the Chimera had virtually no one aboard except young men and women. Slowly, Pelion let his eyes sweep across the bridge, feeling the echoes of old anger and hatred twist through his stomach. There had been many commanders in the fleet, he knew, who had seen the Emperor's original Death Star as a blatant attempt to bring the Empire's vast military power more tightly under his direct control.
Check it out. There's just one of many Star Wars books actually on Audible. There's a bunch of them up here. Just go over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Sign up, make an account, use the search box there, throw Star Wars in there, and Star Wars The Old Republic. You're going to get a ton of results here. There's just a bunch of them. So you can choose any one of them as your free book that you want to choose. No, I don't have any questions. No, thanks. Yeah, you can see there's a bunch of Star Wars books on here. Just go on and check it out. Support Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsor, Audible. Love having Audible on as a sponsor here. Audible.com/gamebreaker. All right, so this huge thread, like I was talking about before, this huge thread popped up on the forums talking about class stories. This is something that kind of never goes away. Despite more class stories seeming like incredibly unlikely, after SWTOR's transition to free-to-play, that really doesn't stop people from asking over and over and over and over. What do you think?
I'm not going to say anything. I am one of those people.
Well, let me ask. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of funny when you think about it. I mean, they pretty much said like this isn't going to happen. I mean, it's kind of valid praise for what they did with this game and how well they did that aspect of the game. Yeah. But our players just are you never going to move on? You just never, it's just, you're going to ask for it forever until it doesn't happen and your dreams are shattered?
Yes, I'm going to continue to ask for it forever.
Chat bubbles.
That's all I got to say. Chat bubbles.
I want to know what happens next to my character. I mean, it's great that we had an interlude where we could go and, kind of mix in with everybody, but now I'm ready to get back to the focus on me. And I think everyone else is too.
How do you think they're, I don't know. Like, how do you think they're going to really do this? I mean, obviously that was probably one of the most expensive aspects of Star Wars to make. which is probably the main reason why they're staying so far away from it, to do the individual class stories for every single class and being completely, in stories totally separate from everybody else's story is, I don't know. I don't see this happening. I mean, do you still hold out hope that as the game grows and the revenue goes up, that they will turn around on this and go back and start doing individual class stories?
Yes, I will never let go.
I don't know. I want them to. I really want them to. It's hard. Okay, if this was pre-Final Fantasy 14, I would have a really, really hard time believing that that any MMO company would ever go back and try to make and increase what they've done in the past. Because usually it's a tapering off kind of thing. They'll do something really, really big, and then the next thing they do is just slightly less big than that, and then it'll slowly taper off it until the game disappears. But then now post Final Fantasy 14, it's possible, assuming that the revenue's there. But I think the big hurdle is EA. EA is going to be your big hurdle. If they can get it past EA, then then they can do anything. But I think
it's got to be a cost issue, right? Like this has to be the fact that like it costs so much to produce this kind of it's like you're in a catch-22, because I think most Old Republic players agree that was the strongest part of the game, yet that is the most neglected part of the game at this point in its life cycle. And it's kind of sad that the best thing they did the best is the thing that they're not focusing on, but it's just got to be so incredibly expensive that they can't really figure out a way to actually keep producing that kind of content. What do you think of this? So, Zion Halcyon came up with this idea, had some interesting suggestions on the forums, and brought up something, and looking at it, how sort of Dungeons and Dragons Online does it. So tell me what you guys think of this. So the suggestion was something like this: that first the devs come out with like a new planet, sort of like McCabe, charge for it, maybe charge for it like they did with the Hut Cartel expansion. And then throughout the year, one at a time, they sell the 8 class story continuations one by one. I mean, does that sound like a viable way to do this to you guys? Would you be willing to pay for each of those stories?
Yes. I mean, I don't necessarily think that that's the correct way to implement it, but if they did put that in, I know that I would pay for it, because I love the class story. I mean, I don't think I've ever played another game that is kind of drawn me in the way that Star Wars did. But I think I see a lot of problems if they implemented it like that, especially from the fact that you get the people that would be crying because, oh, why wasn't my class picked first? And, oh, why do I have to wait for months to see whether or not this is successful to get my class? Or your class is the first one that gets picked, and then suddenly like, oh, well, the story was terrible, and that's because they did a half-assed job, instead of waiting and getting somebody in to really do good, and oh, they made it too short. And I just see a lot of problems coming from that. On top of being with the cartel market, the last time that they put story in, they stuck it on these little data cubes that you could get in gambling packs that gave you, like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds worth of cutscene that you didn't interact with at all, featuring the Shroud from the end of the Macro Binocular quest. And people were pissed that they would include story content, even if it was incredibly minimal and had no effect at all in the cartel market. Now, I don't know if it was just because it was in gambling packs, which I agree was an absolutely terrible idea, and maybe it would have been better accepted if they had actually just put the cubes on the cartel market itself and just said, hey, they're going to cost you 600 coins. You can go ahead and buy it, and if you collect all 4 or all 8, you'll get something cool at the end of it. Maybe that would have been better. But I mean, people were super, super angry at them putting story, any type of story, in the cartel market.
How do you feel about paying for story, Lair?
I think that generally speaking, that idea is okay. The only thing is, as a subscriber, I don't want to have to pay for it. I don't want to be nickel and dimed as a subscriber. I'm already paying a monthly fee. I kind of pay a monthly fee so I don't get nickel and dimed. I mean, that really, especially when it comes to content. So, I mean, I wouldn't have any problem with them releasing it over time, if you will, releasing one story after another. I wouldn't have any problem with that. And I honestly, as like for preferred players or free-to-play players, I don't have any issue with them charging every time one of those came out. But as long as it's for if it's for subscribers, if they're going to charge subscribers too, I would have issue with that.
I think the other thing, and I'm going out on a limb here, you guys tell me what you think, but I also think that most players would probably give up all the voiceover and cinematic nature of the class quests and even be willing to go with more of a traditional text-based class story. So what if it had to dial back and kind of go to more of a traditional MMO route of how the class stories unfold?
Man,
I would be very displeased at that.
But you got nothing. You got nothing right now, and you're probably going to get nothing.
I don't know.
Okay, so if we're being hypothetical, then yeah, I would be very displeased if they put class stories in and I had no dialogue.
Now this is probably why they're not doing it then.
That would be terrible.
I gotta imagine it's a lot cheaper for them to probably produce that kind of content than going through all the extra, production value of the animations and the voiceover work and all that stuff. Strip all that stuff away. Go back to the old traditional MMO. Maybe you got something. I don't know. People would be pissed.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to make a suggestion. I'm trying to get you some class story. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something to get you some class because I don't think it's coming in the way
we don't need another Age of Conan where it was Escape from Tortuga and then you had nothing. Let's not even go down that route.
Do you think if they charged for class stories that the community would just literally explode?
I think if they put them in the cartel market, the community will explode. I mean, if you're going to charge it, hire the people. The cartel market is bringing in money. Whatever you need to do, get people in, get the writers in, write the class story out, and then put it in a box. Like, I'll buy another box expansion. If you give me a collector's edition, I'll buy the collector's edition and do that.
Is that how it works?
I would do it. I think a lot of people would do it.
Is that how it works?
It really just comes down to
I'd be on board. I'd be on board with that.
But I don't.
I got to imagine. I don't know figures and numbers, but I just have to imagine that aspect of it is so incredibly expensive. Like, it's just got to be so beyond what the game has.
But they've said that it's not so much the voice acting that was really expensive because they budgeted for that. I mean, I don't know if it's that they fired all the writers, but come on, you can hire them back.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's one of the things that I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think players are going to be asking for this forever. So I don't know if we're ever going to get it though. There wasn't a ton of news over the holidays. I think people do this thing, they celebrate, they drink and be merry, kind of watch a ball drop and all that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. What you got? Any predictions? Maybe some predictions or hopes? What you'd like to see in 2014? Lara, start with you. Anything other than class stories?
There was something that came up on. Actually, I mentioned it in the Hyperspace Beacon this past week. There was something that came up with the data miner that's on Reddit. There were some objects that said housing on it, like player housing. So maybe the guys over in Austin are looking at the Rift guys and the other ones that are coming up. And who else is coming out with housing? Is it Final Fantasy II?
Final Fantasy coming with housing.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft getting housing.
And World of Warcraft is in all these guys that are coming out with housing. Maybe they're looking over there going, maybe we should be doing that too. And so that's my hope. That's like
your hope is housing. I thought no chat bubbles. I thought you were going to say chat bubbles.
Well, gosh, you know what? Honestly, I really want chat bubbles.
Have you completely?
I've been surviving for 2 years without chat bubbles. That it's just having chat bubbles would be like, yeah, that's cool. About freaking time.
How about you, Laura? Besides class story, what would you like to see in 2014?
I want to see the Quest Hut Ball map. Yay! That we got teased with a couple of months back. Yeah, I would also like to see that I was looking back through some of the data mining stuff, and they were talking about a couple of new planets, Zoist, Bothawai, Slatron. Larry, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but
Ziost, Buthawai, you said right. I'm not sure what the other one is.
And they said there were some data mine files for Yavin 4. So if those things are in, I would love to see any of those planets or all of them show up over this year. That would be really cool.
What about
yes, Quesh Hudball.
What about anything that you'd like to see BioWare continue doing, Larry? Anything that you've picked up on in 2013 that you really like, that you want to see them continue with?
This is really kind of a silly thing, but I like I want to see them continue to expand the amount of armor and clothing that people have, because variety is awesome. It is so great. Because I remember when the game first came out and everybody was looking almost exactly the same, it was so annoying to me. And now it's amazing how different people are looking. They could tweak the dye system a little bit, but I just more armor, more of all of that. That's what they're doing really well.
How about you, Laura? Anything you like to see BioWare continue with?
I'd love to see more daily quest areas put in that are like Ilum or
dailies, huh?
Or I should say Ilum, Empire Side, or CZ198. Small, quick little fun areas that you can run through really fast.
Wow,
and not
dailies.
Like
not what I expected.
Pull
People
your eyes
usually
out.
hate dailies. You want more dailies. Okay.
Well, I'm very specific about my dailies.
This is true. What about anything, Lara, that you'd like to see BioWare stop doing in 2014?
I was thinking about this question whenever I saw it, and I'm like, gosh, there's not really anything that I would like them to stop doing, because I think a lot of it, other than the die system, which is kind of but it's not so bad that I want them to stop doing it. So I really couldn't think of anything that I'm really think that they should absolutely not do anymore.
Larry Everett says BioWare is doing a fantastic effing job. Don't stop anything. How about you, Laura? I'm sure you've got something.
I'd like to see better armor that's attainable outside of the cartel market. Like, I want to kind of be able to quest for stuff or through raids and not feel like the only thing that I want to wear is on the cartel market.
Is in the cartel
in
market.
Lottery packs.
It's
where
feeling,
I have to get the entire
It's
set.
feeling a lot like it's all behind the wall, that you're not getting a whole lot of much of the cool stuff just from playing the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, the best looking stuff is on the cartel market. I am wearing almost all my characters are wearing almost full cartel gear. So I would like to see things that are attainable, not from the cartel market, that look awesome.
Any things on like the wall of crazy that are just completely out there that you think some features or any changes that you think we might actually see in 2014?
Guild capital ships?
Really? Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. Damien Schubert said, I want this done before I leave BioWare. This will be done before I voluntarily leave BioWare. So he will not find another job until we get guild capital ships. So unless he gets fired, we're getting guild capital ships sometime.
Looks like we'll be putting him in his grave working at BioWare. How about you, Laura? Anything on the wall of crazy you think we may actually see?
I'm going to go with chat bubbles since Larry didn't go with that.
How's Larry not going? He's completely defeated.
I'm only saying that for Larry.
He was defeated. 2013 ended, and he's like, "Look, I'm giving it up."
You know what though? Larry got sitting in chairs, so
it's behind a paywall though. I did complain about that at one point sometime.
This is true, but I
still
can't
got
believe
chairs.
This on chat bubbles. Laura Williams, follow her on Twitter at VoidMinx, VoidMinx, and right here on the Republic every Thursday at 6 p.d.t. Mr. Larry Everett, follow him on Twitter at Shadow SHADDOE, and of course go over to Massively and read the Hyperspace Beacon. What are you working on this week for the Hyperspace?
Yesterday I talked about my predictions. Tuesday. And honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air. Shoot me some ideas on Twitter.
There you go.
What I should talk about. There you go.
Shadow. You can follow me at Gary Gannon, GaryGannon, and come over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/GameBreakerTV. And we do the show live every single Thursday. How many episodes is this? 167 episodes of it. And we'll be back next week to talk more Republic. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.